Kanehsatake, which is Mohawk territory near what you probably know it as Oka. In my community, we've been struggling for a couple hundred years. In the last 100 years has been, I guess, the most intense of that struggle. Currently, I mean, I'm not going to get into 1990. That's a whole other subject matter, but that kind of plays into what our community's experiences as a community that's resisting. I don't know if anybody's familiar here with 1990. Show of hands? Okay, not necessarily. Well, 1990 was a fight that I took part in with other members of my community, where we fought against the development of a golf course and the exhumation of our dead to make a parking lot for that golf course, and the clear cutting of a forest to make room for luxury homes. So we had a confrontation with the Quebec Provincial Police, and one police officer was shot, and a 78-day standoff ensued, where the Canadian government called in the Canadian military, 5,000 soldiers for 40 Mohawks, and it ended in a stalemate, and the land issue is still unresolved. And that leads us to the outstanding land claim that's surrounding Kanehsatake. And included in that land claim is an area that was mined in the 1950s and 60s by a company called St. Lawrence Columbium. They're mining columbium in this area. So it was an open pit mine, and it's right smack in the middle of farmland. Okay, and they opened up this mine, and they started contaminating the whole area with radiation, because there's some radioactive materials that are associated with columbium. Radon gas levels started going up and so on. There's a couple of other things that occurred with that, but I'm not too familiar with it. But that's what happened with the St. Lawrence Columbium mine. In 1996, it came to light that another company called Nyocan, which is a company that mines, is part of Nyobec, which is the parent company, which mines niobium, which is a mineral that is used to harden and lighten steel and has implications in industrial military complex, also in aerospace industries. One of the Apollo missions to the moon, part of their space vehicle's landing gear was all made from niobium. So it has a direct implication in that. What's interesting is that WikiLeaks mentions Kanehsatake 4 times in the last little bits were coming out on APTN. One in particular was a memo from Hillary Clinton, which she states that Nyobec and Nyocan are one of 8 major corporations in Canada that are privileged to have U.S. military protection because it's considered a national security corporation, that it has national security implications. That's scary. It's very scary, because we know what the Americans do when they suppose that national security is threatened. And another part of that leak was in 2004, where we had a confrontation with the local police force over corruption and over a lot of other issues, including excessive force on community members, including the shooting of my cousin Joe David. As part of that struggle, again from WikiLeaks, there was some stuff that came out about the Canadian and American governments talking about gathering so-called hired guns from Colorado to come in and take care of business, as well as getting the FBI to intervene in the situation. And to me, it's like you might not think it's related, but a lot of people in the community see it as related, because it's related to the extraction of niobium in our community, in our territory. As it stands right now, we've been effective in blocking this company from going through, and we're able to block this company through so-called legal channels. We've been able to influence different commissions. And what's great about this turn of events is that it's the first time in the history of our community that we have solidarity across ethnic lines, I would say, with the non-native farmers and the native community, the traditional people, and the traditional and the band councils that are kind of like taking a united front, which is something we have to do in order to progress, in order for us to combat what's occurring in our territory and what's the potential projects that are going to occur in the community. So we were able to organize a petition and collect over 6,000 names from the surrounding municipalities. The reason why we collected so many names, the reason why we have so much support, is simply because this project that Nyocan wants to carry out will completely destroy both the water table and the agricultural industry that exists there. It's beautiful farmland. My friend Nicholas over here and I, we had done a small documentary which we wanted to show to people here, but due to time constraints weren't able to do that. And we show this land, this beautiful land that's full of orchards. There's both a mix of native and non-native farmers who live in that area, producing fruits and vegetables. I mean, this is our food pantry, and where they want to put this open pit mine is smack dab in the middle of this agricultural land. So what that would mean is that they would remove all the topsoil, open up their open pit mine, destroy the aquifer because they'll take millions of gallons of water in the extraction process of this mineral. It will create traffic with heavy trucks, dust pollution, and possibly exposure to radioactive elements. Because alongside of niobium, there are small trace elements of uranium. So these are two things that are kind of like complement each other in mineral complex. I guess I'm not a scientist, so don't quote me on that. But this is something that we've been told. In the documentary that we did, we're talking to two people who are very active, along with. Oh, I'm not in the video because I'm filming it. I am in the video, but I'm not on speaking as far as the facts are concerned. But there's two people. Alan Gabriel, who was the spokesperson for us in 1990. I don't know if you remember her. She was the woman that was doing the speaking for the Mohawk warriors in behind the barricades. And Walter David, who was another one of the negotiators. These two have been doing a lot of work in making these solidarity movements happen between the two communities, with the farmers and the non-natives, the band council, the traditional council. So we are making a lot of headway, but at the same time there's still that danger. It's always looming there. I mean, you hear the government of Quebec saying out of one side of their mouth that they want to ensure that there's a public consultation when it comes to anything to that nature of mining. And at the other side of their mouth, they're saying that to the world, to the corporate world, that Quebec is open for business for mining. Well, what is it? Is it open for mining, or is it there to defend the rights of people living in this part of the country? You know, I think it's the former. I think they're open for mining. Period. I mean, they've shown that time and again throughout Quebec that they're looking for ways around these commissions that were set up, like the BAP commissions, which is a commission of public consultation, process of public consultation, I should say, that they have to set up by law in Quebec to consult a community before they enter with any type of mega project, be it mining, forestry, so on. And I think they're trying right now to circumvent these commissions, to eliminate them. Another issue in Quebec is the shale gas extraction. They want to perform along the St. Lawrence, and that in a way is a good thing that they're trying to do this, because it has awakened a very angry portion of Quebec society that's opposed to shale gas, and in doing so, it has also awakened a lot of resistance with non-natives and the willingness to align themselves with us. However, it falls short when it comes down to land title, which is something that we're still working around, because there's a lack of an ability on the part of the non-native settlers to admit that they're on stolen native land to begin with. But it's kind of like we have to play both sides of that. You know, we have to be careful with it. Even when we were making our film, we like, I'm not the type of person to tone down what I'm saying politically, because I have certain core beliefs that if I back down from these beliefs, then what am I doing and who am I? But at the same time, sometimes you have to just step back a bit and allow people to feel comfortable in order for something positive to come out of it. Because as it stands, if we don't have that kind of solidarity, they're going to blow right over us. Because in reality, they don't really care what a couple of Indians have to say anyway. Unless you have an AK-47 in your hands, then they're a little more willing to hear, which is unfortunate, because it shouldn't come to that. It really shouldn't, because that's not what we're about. You know, we're known as being fierce warriors, but also known as being very eloquent diplomats. And I prefer the latter, being the eloquent diplomat that will speak. But if need be, then the diplomatic thing, when diplomacy fails, then we have to do what we have to do, right? But there's always, you have to exhaust all these different avenues of approach before you get to that point. because I went through 1990. I went through that with the crisis, and it was a very traumatic experience for me. It affected me a lot. But at the same time, I have to say that it gave me a very pointed and significant political perspective that I applied to what I do today. I don't know if there are any questions.
Wait, we're gonna have questions.
Okay.
Well.